Good morning. So we're going to be out in the garden area today. Got quite a few things that I want to get taken care of. Let you guys know what happened to the cabbage. Spoiler, it's all gone. But first, we need to head to the store and get a few things, mix up some soil, and go from there. Back from picking up a few things at the store. Again, got some more soil so we can do some topping off in some of the containers, as well as maybe even putting together a few extra containers. So we'll see how this goes throughout the day as far as how much of that I'm going to actually need to use. I didn't get a whole lot because I don't think I'm going to need a whole lot. There's a few things I got to try to figure out what I'm going to do with back here though. Because it is starting to get a little cooler at night. We've actually, we're consistently getting down into the 40s. And there's been a couple of nights where, we're down at that 40, maybe even that 39 degree range, which of course, a lot of these plants don't really care for. Now the peppers, that's the biggest thing I'm trying to figure out here. I've been looking up all kinds of stuff for peppers here in Arizona. What I was going to do, or thinking about doing, was overwintering the plants, which involves pruning them back heavily, like very heavily, taking them out of the containers, washing the roots off, replanting them into an appropriate size container, and then bringing them indoors. Along with that, though, was a lot of information I came across that, again, here in Arizona, it's a zone 9B, so our average coldest temperature is between 25 to 30 degrees. Obviously, the pepper plants, they're not going to like frost. All right, so if we do have any kind of frost that happens, these pepper plants are not going to like it. That being said, a lot of the times you can still just leave them outdoors. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is pruning them back a little bit here, because from what I've read, they will basically kind of go dormant for the winter on their own. And if we do have any nights that are threatening frost, I can just cover them up to try to protect them. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Now the serranos, I've pretty much decided that I'm going to go ahead and pull these. These suffered significant damage when the worms got a hold of them, and they're starting to kind of come back. I may just prune them back heavily and see what happens instead of just pulling them. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give them a good heavy pruning, and I mean like a heavy pruning. This one actually has a little pepper on it. So I'm going to heavily prune these back and see if we can get them to survive out here. If they'll do that and they do survive, that means I'll already have serrano pepper plants established. If they don't survive, well, then they didn't survive. However, if I pull them and just yank them out of the container, obviously they won't survive. So let's go ahead and just kind of give these a chance. We're going to prune these back heavily and see what happens. This actually had a few peppers on it. Now who knows, I may have just killed those suckers, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to build up some of that soil there and mulch it really good. Make sure they're good and watered. And again, as the temperatures continue to drop, if necessary, I'm just going to cover them. One thing I am hopeful for is I actually had a few peppers that had formed on it. Didn't expect that at all. And as I began pruning down, there was a lot of new growth that was happening towards the bottom of these plants. Now what happened when the hornworms came in is they ate back all of the branches, so it was just all these stems, and they got real leggy. They just got really tall, and it wasn't until, they'd reached a couple of feet high before they ever started branching back out again. So I'm real hopeful on this, but again, if they don't, they don't. And I'm actually considering doing the same thing to my jalapeno plant as well. And maybe not to that extreme, but definitely prune it back. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to prune it back a little bit, take care of any stems that may be facing inward, get rid of some of the extra leaves and such, and just kind of clean it up a bit. Let's go ahead and take care of that real quick, and then we'll get to the cabbage. Well, as I started pruning the jalapenos, don't know if it's a matter of getting carried away or if I was actually thinking I'm doing the right thing. Prune these back very heavily as well. So as I started getting in there, these pepper plants were a mess. They were starting to the branches were starting to kind of twist and entwine, and everything was starting to really point inward. And so I decided to get that straightened out. I needed to go ahead and just prune it all off, see if we can get some fresh growth. Again, worst case scenario, they don't make it, and I plant new ones in the spring. And I think I'm okay with that. So let's go ahead. Let's get the Serrano plant container taken care of. We'll get some soil mixed up here real quick, just so we can add to it and get this mulched. Quick little change of plans. We're going to mix all of this up and get a couple of extra bags going on top of topping off the peppers and such here, because I have lettuce that we picked up and cabbage that we picked up, and we actually still have some starch over here, so let's try to find a home for those too. Alright, so a quick little deal here in the middle of mixing and filling bags and whatnot. I had my son come out here and actually help me move the corn. I didn't record any of that. So part of the problem, I'll show you, you can see the corn's in like these different stages of height. And I think I know why, especially being out here today at this time of the day. So take a look at this corn real quick. So if you notice, they all kind of cascade down, right? Well, what I noticed is the largest ones were getting the most amount of sun. So if you look at where they were at right now, you can see there's a huge area that is heavily shaded. Now the shaded area over here does get sunlight in the late hours of the day, and that's been kind of the problem. Is I haven't been out here a whole lot lately during this time of the day. So early in the morning it's getting sunlight. As a matter of fact, this area, because of where the house sits, gets the sunlight first. But this time of the day, because of this big tree here, it gets shaded for a good portion of the afternoon, and it's not until late in the evening before the sun starts hitting again, but then gets blocked by the wall here. And of course the smallest one was in this heaviest shaded area. So I've moved those, and this section over here actually gets sun throughout most of the day. So we put up this little trellis area here just to give some support. Moved all the corn here, plus I think it kind of looks cool. All right, let's get back to filling these bags. I actually think I might be able to get 5, if not 6, of these 20-gallon bags filled up. And again, I do use Vivosun bags. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not affiliated with them. It just happens to be the ones that we began buying early on. They've done really well for me, so I continue to purchase them. As a matter of fact, I do have affiliate links down in the description. So if you happen to be needing grow bags, go ahead and look down in the description, click on the affiliate links. It'll take you to the Vivosun link. They have various sizes: 1 gallon, 5 gallon, 10 gallon, 20 gallon, 30 gallon. So whatever needs you have, take a look. And keep in mind, Black Friday's coming up soon. Just saying. So anyway, let's get back to filling these all up here. So, to my pleasant surprise, with what we had purchased to mix up soil, I was able to get 7 bags filled, and I can use all 7 of them. Now, as far as the cabbage goes, let me show you our cabbage. Yeah, so it wasn't bugs, it wasn't weather, it was one of the dogs. One of the dogs likes veggies. We had them out here one day because, during the day it's been quite nice, low to mid 70s. I mean, beautiful weather. And she ate all of my cabbage, every last little bit of it. That's why I picked up some transplants. Now, the thing with that is I probably didn't need to. Why? A little while back, we had seed starts, transplanted a bunch of them, and had a bunch left over that I've been trying to care for the best I can, but we've had no means of being able to put bags together for any of them. And part of what's in here is cabbage. The thing with that is I'd kind of almost given up on these, and because of that, it was no longer at the front of my mind. So I really didn't need to spend the money, even though it was only like $6, on the cabbage starts. Part of the bags back here are going to be cabbage. I'm going to transplant these as well as the ones that we purchased. I think I'm going to try to actually do 2 per bag. It would be best, I think, for just 1, but given my limited space, I'm going to try 2. It may end up making for smaller cabbage, but I've never grown cabbage before, so why not give it a try? I do have some leaf lettuce starts that I'm also going to be transplanting. Let's start moving these around, getting some stuff transplanted, get it all watered up, mulched, and then we'll take a look at the garden before we call it a day. one last little thing that we did here. I don't know how well it's going to work, but we're going to try it anyway. So right here we have our okra, and if you can see, we've got 2 lines that we put on each side here, 1 on each side. And that is some carrots that we just direct sowed. Like I said, we're actually a couple of weeks late on planting carrots, but again, I figured, what the heck, let's give it a try. If nothing comes up, well, nothing comes up. But if we do get a little bit of carrots that come up, well, that's just awesome. There you have it. So that's going to do it for us today. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for giving us a thumbs up. If you're interested in seeing more content when we release it, make sure to hit that notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one.